A middle-aged Caucasian woman thought she was leaving for a seminar. She didn't know she was leaving our marriage behind.
They say trust is the foundation of a marriage. Mine didn't just crack. It shattered the night I heard my wife laughing on the phone in a way she hadn't laughed with me in years. It wasn't the stress, the fatigue, or the arguments that I heard, it was flirting. My name is Preston Clark. I'm 48, a supply chain analyst in Memphis, Tennessee. My job is steady, not flashy. But for 20 years, it kept the lights on. That was before last year's downsizing, when I took a massive pay cut just to stay employed while younger guys got promoted around me. My wife, Rita, noticed. She always noticed. Rita is 43, sharp, polished, and incredibly successful in corporate event planning. She's the kind of woman who walks into a room and instantly belongs. I used to be proud of that. I used to think we balanced each other out. We have one son, Dylan, 18, a quiet, thoughtful kid who cares more about music than sports. He's a good kid, always has been. The first real crack appeared on a Thursday night. I came home early because my office server crashed. Rita wasn't expecting me. I heard her voice upstairs before I even closed the front door. "I can't wait either," she said softly, then laughed that light, bubbly laugh. "Stop it, you're terrible." I froze at the bottom of the stairs, groceries still in my hands. "Dylan's at practice," she continued. "Preston won't be home for another 2 hours." My stomach dropped into my shoes. But I didn't confront her. I didn't storm upstairs and cause a scene. I quietly put the groceries down, slipped back out the front door, drove around the block, and came back 5 minutes later, pretending I had just arrived. Rita was in the kitchen, scrolling on her phone, smiling like nothing in the world was wrong. That night, I didn't sleep. Over the next few days, I started paying attention. Real attention. Rita guarded her phone like a national secret. She took every call in another room. She suddenly started dressing differently, wearing clothes that felt less like wife and more like first date. On Monday, I told her I had an early meeting. Instead, I followed her. She didn't drive to her downtown office. She parked at a quaint little cafe by the river. 5 minutes later, a silver BMW pulled in. The man who stepped out looked like money-expensive suit, confident walk, pure swagger. He opened her car door for her. They hugged too long. I sat there, heart pounding, and took photos. Dozens of them. That evening, I called a private investigator named Dale Hutchins, a former detective who had zero patience for drama. I didn't want suspicion. I wanted proof. Dale delivered. Photos, hotel records, timestamps. Rita and a man named Kurt Stone, the CEO of a local marketing firm, meeting regularly for months. There was no ambiguity. There were no excuses. Around the exact same time I was gathering evidence, the headaches started getting worse. Sharp, blinding pain behind my right eye. Blurred vision. My doctor ordered an MRI. A mass, he said carefully. We need more tests. Cancer wasn't confirmed, but the possibility was sitting right there between us. I didn't tell Rita. There was no trust left to share that kind of fear. I told Dylan. He didn't cry. He just nodded, his jaw tight like he'd already sensed that our world was unraveling. Things truly unraveled fast after that. One night, Rita came home late. Dylan confronted her in the kitchen. I listened from the doorway, leaning against the frame, as she finally snapped and said the words that destroyed whatever was left of our family. "Yes," she spat out. "I'm seeing someone. Someone better than your father." The silence that followed was brutal. Dylan just pointed to the door. He told her to leave. She did. The next morning, clarity hit me like a bucket of ice water. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to explode in a rage. I was going to end this cleanly, efficiently, and deliberately. I hired a shark of a lawyer and filed for divorce immediately. We separated the finances. We documented everything. I waited until Rita left on a supposed business trip. Then I sold the house, legally, quietly, efficiently. By the time she drove back into town, it was already done. A stranger answered the door when Rita tried to use her key. "My husband and I just bought this house," the woman said politely. Rita called me screaming, absolutely hysterical. "I sold it," I replied, my voice steady and calm. Your half of the equity is already in your account. The paperwork explains everything, she sobbed, she begged. She threatened me. I hung up. The lawsuit against Kurt Stone followed right after that. He settled quickly, a massive 6 figures before his reputation and company collapsed. Rita lost her job shortly thereafter. Even her own parents sided with me. They couldn't justify what she had done. Then the final test results came back. The mass was benign, not cancer. When I told Dylan, he cried harder than he ever had in his entire life. A complete, raw release. 8 months later, the divorce was finalized. Dylan graduated high school and left for college. Rita moved back in with her parents, mostly alone. We don't speak. I'm healthier now, lighter. Not because the betrayal didn't hurt, it nearly killed me, but because I refuse to let it define me. Some endings aren't loud, fiery explosions. They're controlled, they are deliberate, and they are absolutely final. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to hear more stories about finding strength when everything falls apart.